Ted Lasso. I'm going to start by saying that if someone has recommended this series to you, then probably they know you better than I and you should watch it. And if someone has told you that they didn't like Ted Lasso and that person's a bit of a jerk, then you should probably watch it as well. I really like Ted Lasso. I wanted to talk about it because I feel like there are some parallels to my life, and I guess you're kind of my internet psychiatrist now. To start with, I guess, and get it out of the way, I do have one criticism of the show, which is that the actual soccer footage, some of it's computer generated, and at least for me, it is very obviously so. That being said, the editing is so tight around those shots that it's not on screen for very long. It's pretty easy to move past the rather clunky FIFA 2009 level of animation that you're sometimes seeing. Okay, at this point, I'm going to say spoiler warning. I'm not going to make any attempt to hide anything or reserve any information that might be in the show. So if you have not seen the show and think you might watch it, then I would potentially go watch it now and then come back to this moment after you've done so. If you've seen the show or you are pretty sure you're never going to watch the show, then let's get started. So why am I making this video? I'm making this video because someone recommended Ted Lasso to me and said that Ted Lasso reminded them of me. And having now watched it, I agree with that statement. Ted and I don't have the same personality. Ted's a lot chattier. Ted is a lot more able to build a personal relationship with other people. I don't know that I've ever had the relationship with a boss that Ted eventually develops with Rebecca by the end of season 2, but in the way that we trust our teams, in the way that we react to situations, Ted Lasso and I have almost identical styles. And it's interesting how frustrating at times I find the show to watch because of how strongly it parallels myself. Honestly, even the thing that he does with his hands is a thing that I do. Ted, in most situations, takes the actions I would take, has the reactions that I would have, and the outcomes are very similar to the outcomes that have occurred to me in my life. Let's start by walking through some of the characters of the show. Have I had a work wife like Coach Beard? Absolutely. And have our personalities been compatible and yet highly different from each other? Absolutely. And has that person basically been the source of skill upon which I rested much of my success, my actions? Absolutely. Have I had a boss like Rebecca where at the beginning it seems fairly obvious that they are actively working to sabotage the progress that I'm attempting to make? They've never admitted it to me, but yeah. And have we moved past that and gotten into a situation where that relationship was a lot healthier? Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that I ever had the level of trust for those people as Ted seems to have for Rebecca, but it's a TV show, so trust is easier to build and rebuild. Have I worked with people like Roy, who at the start of my interaction had basically given up? They were coasting out their career, and through our interaction, I got them to care again, to put in extra effort, to become better and become closer to what they once were. Yeah, for sure. Has that effort in some cases resulted in that person hurting themselves? That's happened too. Have we even had situations where after that injury occurred, after that damage happened, we were able to move that person into a new part of their career? Again, absolutely true. Have I ever worked with someone like Keeley who came into the organization because of their relationship with someone else on the team, be they a partner or even a relative? Yeah, that's happened. And has that person actually ended up being more valuable in some ways to the organization than the original person? That's absolutely happened. And it can happen for sure. Jamie, someone who is very, very full of themselves, sure of themselves, themselves talented, but ultimately toxic and destructive to the team. Of course, everyone's worked with those people. Have I brought such a person back onto the team against the better judgment of other people in the leadership team? Yes. Has it worked out? It has worked out. I would say that more often than not, it hasn't worked out and it was a mistake. So while I can draw connections to Jamie's arc, I'm not convinced that my feeling is that Ted probably shouldn't have brought Jamie back to Richmond. But would I have done the same thing? Yeah, probably, for exactly the same reasons. Nate. I know that some people feel like Nathan's arc doesn't make sense, but it absolutely makes sense. It makes sense that a person who felt like they were better than those around them from the very beginning, but didn't have the hard power to show that greatness and didn't know how to use soft power to advance their own cause, when given a little bit of power, would become more and more of a bully, more and more destructive to his relationships, because he saw this situation as his right, because now he was the one that had the official power. Have I worked with someone who I reached down to because I saw talent in them and helped them up and cleared the road for them so that they could have success, only to have that person become resentful and ultimately betray the team? Yeah, that has absolutely happened. Nate's journey is precisely the journey that I've had with some people in my career. But it isn't every time. It isn't even most of the time. You can't give up on people. You have to reach down. You have to give chances. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to miss things. You can't give up on people because of something like that happening. And I think that brings me to why it can be difficult for me to watch the show at times, because I could see what they were setting Nate up to be very early on in the first season, and I also knew exactly what was going to happen. And every step of the way, Ted made the same mistakes, the same decisions that I would have made in the situation. And that's sort of frustrating, because I kind of just want Ted to get mad or give up or throw something or just have a more extreme reaction. But instead, what he does is he picks up the pieces and works the problem and moves on. And yeah, I mean, that's the right thing to do, but you don't always watch a show like this for what's the right thing to do. Sometimes you want the character to do something that you wouldn't do, or if they do what you would do, for it to work out a little bit better. And that's the other thing for me that's so true to life in Ted Lasso, is Ted never gets a win that's big enough to truly win, and he never loses badly enough to end it all. It's always in the fuzzy middle, and so much of my career has been landing in the fuzzy middle. At the end of season 1, they lose, they get relegated, but you can see the potential of the style of what he's doing, and you can see the relationship with him and the other characters solidifying. So while it's a loss, it's a loss that's not unexpected, and it's not a loss so bad or so embarrassing to end it all. If that game had ended 6-0, then that would have been it. It would have been over, because the experiment was over and it's done. But instead, it's almost a tie, and so you pick up the pieces and you keep going. Even when at the end of season 2, when they get promoted back into the Premier League, it comes with the poison chaser of having damaged the leadership of his team and now having to move forward with a new direction. This is an amazing show with amazing writing, and I do recommend that you watch it. If you like listening to me, I suspect you will probably enjoy the series. If you are interested in soccer or football at all, which I'm not, but if you are, I'm sure there is lots of interesting detail there that I'm completely missing. I'm glad that I made this video to kind of just sift through all this stuff churning in my head. And I did want to say that I find Nate's arc absolutely 100% plausible, because I've worked with these people. And while I might wish for Ted to have a more definitive win, or even a more definitive loss, I understand that so much of life is in the fuzzy middle, where your wins aren't completely wins and your losses aren't completely losses. A special thanks to my members. They provide the resources that this channel needs to keep running. If you are interested in becoming a member, there's a link down in the description. I wish I had an affiliate link for this show so that you could click on it and watch it. It's on Apple Plus. I actually got a free Apple Plus membership, I guess because we spent enough stuff on the App Store. I'm not entirely sure why. So maybe you have one as well. If you do, maybe check it out. Or if you already have Apple Plus, definitely check it out. I have no idea if anyone's going to watch this video. If you are interested in this kind of thing, please let me know, because otherwise I likely will not make any more videos of me barfing my subconscious into a video about a TV show I watched. I will see you again soon. Thank you.